Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Heart is a Muscle podcast. We got Jordan James and my co-host Joseph H.
Me, Joseph H. All right, everybody. We are getting on the AI bandwagon. We have asked ChatGPT to give us a list of important questions for couples, and we are going to answer those. So if you have questions, this one might come up and get answered. So hang all the way into the end because these are some good ones. Good job, ChatGPT.
Good job.
All right. So buckle up, everybody. Enjoy.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Heart is a Muscle podcast here in our soon-to-be Villa Outlook. This is where we're heading here pretty soon.
That's right. We're gonna have our whole life is gonna be a vacation, basically.
I mean, we're gonna live in a vacation,
Mm-hmm.
but we're gonna work hard in a vacation. And future, the Heart is a Muscle podcasts are gonna come straight from beautiful sceneries like this. So look forward to that. And today we've got a fun and technology-based themed podcast where we're going to ask ChatGPT, ask us some questions, you crazy mastermind artificial intelligence, and we're going to give you some good answers. So everyone, get ready to have your questions answered.
So what was it? The most common questions people struggle with in relationships?
We prompted ChatGPT.
Yeah. As told by ChatGPT.
As told by ChatGPT. And this is we'll probably get through like, I don't know, 4 or 5 questions because we love to talk.
We talk a lot.
Yeah. And it actually comes up with some really great questions. So
what's our first one?
Further ado, let's ask our first question here. So the first thing ChatGPT wants to know is, am I with the right person? Doubts about compatibility and long-term relationship suitability can arise, especially during challenging times, or when facing with major life decisions.
Yeah. So first myth to bust with that one is that they're the myth of the one.
Right. We're not talking about the Matrix one. We're talking about
yeah, like being like, I would totally rephrase that question of like, am I with the right person to like, am I enjoying this relationship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think that question in of itself is kind of part of the problem.
Agreed. Yeah. Oh, say more about that.
Yeah, so I think this is a pretty common thing that a lot of people kind of naturally tend towards is they try and gauge the relationship outside of themselves.
Yes, say more.
It's like, this relationship really seems to be heading to the trash. What's wrong with my partner?
Mm-hmm.
How can they be better?
Mm-hmm. I must not be with the right person.
Yeah, it must not be me, or it must not be like my fault. And so asking that question, I think, sparks a broader question of, is there a blind spot that you're facing in the relationship that maybe needs to be focused on? And then that might ask a more meaningful question of, are we working well together in this relationship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there isn't just one right person to be with. There are lots of right people for you. Like, I'm sure there are tons and tons of people that you are compatible with in a relationship. But like when you're speaking about just the relationship that you're in, like, do you like it? Are your needs being met? What are your needs? What needs are being met? What needs aren't being met? And like exploring the dynamics of why and why not. And like, how do you want a relationship to feel? How do you actually want a relationship to feel? And like, where is the gap? And then we can explore the dynamics that are causing the gap.
So, not to take one question and blow it up into a million questions.
I don't know. That's I did mean to do that.
Good job, Jordan.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of fun and AI devil's advocate, let's maybe think about this from the question itself of how do you know if you are with the right person? I.e., like, how can you tell if you're compatible with somebody?
Yeah, I like that.
Because compatibility is kind of tricky to quantify, but it is a very important thing, because there's ways that I think that you can get away in relationship with some incompatibility, and then there's other ways where it's just like, it's so difficult and so taxing to have just like for instance, things about how, what do I want to say, like how you kind of run your life.
What your priorities are?
Yeah, well, like for instance, one thing that we have good compatibility on that I think would be a real point of contention is we kind of run our lives very similarly, of like um we enjoy the same amount of like cleanliness, we enjoy more or less the same amount of organization. I think that kind of ebbs and flows. But we kind of have like similar standards for things. Our windows for standards are pretty close, and they kind of complement each other too, where maybe one of us has a little bit higher standard in one area, and then the other person's like, oh, I like that too, so we raise our standard. And we kind of do that, where we kind of our mannerisms kind of aid each other and like help each other grow. Versus, if you really don't give a shit about like keeping things clean, and your partner, like that's like a trauma point.
Yeah.
Where it's like very, very important. That's that inconsistency really makes it hard. And on the other hand, that could be a great point where a couple comes together and resolves some deep issues and evolves together.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was wondering, because like I agree, it is just so much easier when you are just compatible on a lot of levels. Like I think that's something that I take for granted in our relationship, is just how fucking compatible we are. Like it really does make things easy. But like, do you have to be super compatible with people? Like it just seems like most relationships have a few areas where you're incompatible. And like, does that mean that you're not with the right person, or is that an opportunity to come together and evolve and talk about it? Or like, also I would be so curious about like, how do you treat each other in your incompatibilities? Like, are you critical of one another, or are you compassionate and curious with one another? Because like, if you're critical with one another, that's like a deeper problem.
Right. Yeah. One of the things that just is kind of popping into my mind about this question is that the question kind of has this limit on it of, am I with this right person because they'll never change?
Yeah.
Is this person as they are right at the moment, like, am I willing to accept them for the rest of time? It kind of has that heaviness on it, because I think people ask these questions when they're going to take really committed steps, like getting married, or moving in together, or things like that, where like your lives are going to be now really connected in a way.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because from that point of view, it can seem really overwhelming, I think, when you're like, oh, this person, or my person, still I don't know, likes to kick dogs or something like that. I love dogs, and I don't know if I can be with someone who kicks a dog. And it's like, yeah, from that point of view, it's just like, that's a big thing that when you take that step, like you're forced to deal with that now.
Yeah. I love that you brought that up, because it seems like a question that's asked during transition points of like, if you are transitioning into like deeper intimacy or deeper commitment with like, yeah, getting married and moving in together or whatever. But then also it seems like a question people ask when they've been in the relationship for a while and they're not satisfied. Like, am I with the right person?
Yeah, I think sometimes people can use this question as kind of an excuse to be like, it's about time to like, kick this person to the curb. Let me kind of have some kind of I don't want to say this like in a rude way, but kind of ingenuous like insight of like, let me see if this person's still worthy of me.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, I like parts of me haven't got their needs met in a really long time in this relationship. Like, am I with the right person? And so like different people can be right for different parts of you. Like,
ooh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask all these questions about like what parts are getting their needs met in this relationship. There might be parts for like comfort and familiarity that are really getting their needs met here, but there might be other parts of, sexual tension or mutual intimacy, that aren't getting their needs met, for example. And so like that's where you get to establish yourself as the inner leader of navigating your way through that decision.
Right. Yeah, I think if I had to sum it up, I really like the way you put that. It would be something along the lines of, does your person kind of complement more parts of you than not? And does this person have the willingness to evolve with you?
Yes. And here's what I would say to people asking that question of like, what would you need to be fulfilled, like radically, like excited to be with this person? Like, under what conditions would you just be so excited to be with them? And like make a like write this down, like get clear for yourself, because this is going to be super valuable for you and your parts. And then like ask yourself, what could they do to help create these conditions? And then you're going to have parts that are like, oh, but they can't do this, they won't do this, like I can't ask that. Like, no, don't like filter this out. Actually think about like requests from your perspective, from your parts, what the other person could do to help foster these conditions. And then ask, like bring that to your partner. And their response will determine if they are the right person or not.
Yeah, you have the power to answer this question.
To
find out the answers to these questions. And I think one thing I'll add to that is when you're making your list, be wary of things that you want your partner to be that are fantasies.
Oh, yeah, say more.
Yeah. So like, if you want your partner to, I don't know,
Be your
daddy, or
guilty.
help you overcome, your burdens, or provide for you without like, anything in return, or just kind of, I don't know, really entitled things that don't really live in the realm of reality. I don't know if you have those, you may not be able to tell, but like make it things that, or try and focus on the things that really matter to you, because they're things that either you're working on that you found are really valuable to you, or are things that like you have experienced in the past that you are just not going to really tolerate.
Yeah. And then it might be a really helpful like conversation to be like, and what do you need to be really excited about this? Like it can foster a deeper conversation, and it can prompt them to get really clear about what they need to be really excited about being in this relationship. And then if they don't match, then that's like pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, this is a question that we kind of ask this every once a year or so, like, are we still in this?
Like it seems like every transition point. Yeah.
It really is it's kind of one of those questions that is good to bring up every once in a while and make sure that things are still kind of going in a direction that works well for both of you.
Yeah, one thing I love about us and our relationship is that it's built on the idea that like we are just going to evolve into new people as we get older. And like it doesn't work on the assumption that like I don't know, that who you like you're going to want even the same things as when we first started dating. You know, that it is something that we have to keep, like our relationship is something we've got to keep evolving.
Right.
All
right. There you go. There was a lot for that one.
Good.
Ask the question and find the answer.
Yep.
That's how you find out.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 2. How can I improve communication with my partner? Many individuals find it difficult to express their feelings, listen effectively, or address conflicts in a healthy and productive manner. Yeah.
Parts work.
Big, broad question.
Parts work. Simple fucking answer to that one, actually.
Moving on.
Parts work. Join Parts Work Academy. Understand your parts. It will make everything make so much more sense. Your needs will make so much more sense. Communicating will make so much more sense. Your partner will make so much more sense.
Yeah.
Join Parts Work Academy. Learn about parts.
You guys don't know what that is. It's like the best.
It's like the best.
It solves all your problems.
Yeah, it's the online course that I created. You can sign up. You'll have lifetime access to all of the content. It's self-paced. It'll walk you through from parts work 101 to like advanced level parts work, where we get into even like attachment styles and relationships, and how to heal your attachment style from the inside out, how to speak, but also like basic things about how to speak for your parts versus from your parts, how to identify a need, the how to establish yourself as an inner leader, but also how to step into your power of just being, not even necessarily having to do. So that is a little tangent, but you'll have lifetime access. And also I get on a live call every couple weeks and can actually like help walk you through this.
It basically is the answer to all these questions.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yes. Parts work has been like the best thing that happened to our relationship.
I'd say parts work, and then there's a couple other like accessories that we really integrate with parts work, like nonviolent communication, which is literally about this question of
nonviolent communication.
How do you oh man, sorry, but earthquake there for a second. How do you communicate effectively what's alive in you, what needs in you are not being met, and how can you express that in a way that also conveys empathy for the other person, and basically seeing what their needs are and all this kind of stuff. It's a very effective way to try and disconnect you from the parts of yourself that want to either attack or project or be a victim and all this kind of stuff, and allow your inner leader to kind of come forward and run the conversation. So that, like you said, you can speak for your parts, not from your parts.
Yeah, nonviolent communication is a great one.
Another thing that I think has always been really helpful, which is not so much a communication style, but a way to see kind of what's going on behind the scenes, is the Enneagram.
Yeah. My whole life I've been wanting my partners to get into the Enneagram, or at least just understand the language. And I am so satisfied that you did. Like, you see the value in it. You just like get it. Oh, I love it. Yeah. And go ahead.
Was there another one? I mean, the thing that is my thing I'm going to pitch real quick is understanding masculine and feminine.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Because that's another like look behind the scenes, that if there's something that's really not being able to be communicated for one reason or the other, being able to understand energetically what might be holding up your partner from being able to open up vulnerably. Masculine and feminine energy in relationships plays so many roles. And all of these together, parts work is kind of, I would say, probably the the conductor of all of these things.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of call in each of these sections when needed.
I agree.
But yeah, so practically, let's break it down here.
How do you improve communication?
How do you improve communication? You want to start, or you want me to start?
My starting is fucking join Parts or Academy, understand parts, because it's going to change the rest of your life.
All right. Well, mine is when there's something that is struggling to be being communicated, excuse me, you you kind of have to do some work on the inside world to find out why is this not being met, and why is this important? What part of me is really needing to have something said, and why is the response that I'm getting not satisfying that part?
Yeah.
Because there's a couple typical things that happen in relationships, and this has to do with masculine and feminine polarity too. When polarity inversion happens, where basically the partners kind of switch their core energetic roles of masculine and feminine, it can really throw off the balance and really disrupt trust and vulnerability. I.e., if the feminine core partner is getting really critical, getting really nagging, getting really judgmental of a lot of things, like that will create this environment of total unsafety for the masculine core partner to be able to communicate effectively. And so they fall into kind of a feminine role of, well, it's not safe, so I'm not going to like participate. That's when, men just don't answer, and it just is this spiral, because then the female partner will just be getting more heated and more heated and more accusing and more cruel usually. I've been there where my silence has been met with real cruelty, and accusations of trying to sabotage things, all kinds of nasty shit. And it's one of those things that in the mind of a masculine being, like, there's a very easy math equation that goes here, where it's just like, if you're going to treat me like shit, then why should I answer? Like, it's almost me being in my power just to ignore you. And so if that's a pattern that you're recognizing, because another thing is recognizing the patterns that you're doing that are making it difficult to communicate. Kind of the same thing if your partner's doing a pattern that makes it hard to communicate, recognizing that and trying to address that by how that makes you feel and how that is not allowing you to communicate effectively, while not trying to like belittle or coerce your partner into talking. Because we want to, a lot of the reasons why communication breaks down is because there is not a energetic connectivity that wants to connect you to, and there's not a willingness to participate because there's no safety or there's no trust.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the two masculine and feminine like things that represent kind of the same thing. Like, if a man doesn't trust his partner to like honor his opinions or his voice, like, then he won't participate. And in the same way, if a woman doesn't feel safe or to be vulnerable and to share, then like she won't either.
Dude, that's so good. Yeah. And to add to that, I guess just my quick answer to this question is to identify the need that isn't being met. Like, if you can identify your needs, if your partner can identify their needs, like their core needs, not the strategies of how you both think those needs need to be met, but like the actual need underneath the strategy of like, I need to feel safe, I need to, trust, or I need to feel connected. Like, whatever those needs are, then speak on that level of like, okay, what's a creative way that we can get both of these needs met?
And I think a real obvious thing that nobody wants to admit is that you should get help. You should either look for a program to help with like Parts Work Academy, which is an amazing one that'll solve all your problems, or look for a counselor to help foster this communication. Either a counselor or a coach. Therapy.
There's some good
There's some
therapists
good
out
therapists
there.
out there.
But
find something.
Yeah. Find something that works for both of you.
Because if like both of you are not communicating because you're stuck in trauma responses that your parts are just like at war with each other, man, that takes someone like having a leap in evolution of understanding themselves, their inner world, before any of that's going to change.
100%.
And that's kind of the tough thing that a lot of people get stuck in is, they just get caught in these stalemates of, well, I know we need to improve and communicate better, but all we know how to do is just disconnect from each other.
Yep.
So real short, try and understand what needs are not being met. Try to understand what needs are not being met in your partner. Try to connect more than disconnect from each other. Try to create trust and safety, and be brave and be messy. And hang in there and get some help. Get the
support that you need. Seriously.
Shoot.
All right. What's the next question?
Question number 3. What do you got here? What are our long-term goals as a couple? Clarifying shared values, aspirations, and plans for the future can be a source of tension or confusion. So this is basically like, how do you check what your long-term goals are as a couple? It's kind of similar to the first question.
I say that question kind of answers the first question. Yeah. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. Or is there something you wanted to say about that?
I mean, I think it's very similar to the first question, where it's like, well, where do you see like your life evolving? Where's the momentum in your life, and does it align with where your partner is? And it kind of goes with the second one too. Then you need to communicate that, and you'll kind of find the answer. Like, for instance, do you want to have kids? That's one of those questions that, like, I think a lot of people kind of ask a little bit too late, or they ask at a time that's like too late because because they get pregnant or something like that, and it's just like, well, okay, now we've like aligned ourselves to this future course, like it or not, when that should be a pretty common thing, especially like big life goals like that, where it should be pretty clear of like, yes, we do, or no, we don't, or not right at the moment, but in a few years when X, Y, and Z happens. I feel like that kind of keeping the conversation open and continuing to refresh it is really critical. Okay. Question number 4. How can we maintain a healthy balance between personal space and togetherness? Finding the right balance between individual and couplehood could be challenging, as both partners have their own need and desire for autonomy. Okay.
I mean, I guess how I do it for me is I just notice when I need personal space and then I ask for it.
Yeah, I think generally it's good to have kind of a mix of things that are your own thing, and a mix of things that are couple things, and then a mix of things that are kind of both. Like, when you start a relationship with someone, you're usually like just you focused. You're just full of your own stuff.
You're on dopamine.
Yeah, whatever that means. And then you kind of, when you couple up with someone, you kind of lose that for a little while because you're so focused on the excitement of the couple and integrating. And then there's always this period eventually, kind of once the relationship gets a little momentum, where you start to individualize again. And this can be kind of where, this is where people really kind of show their true self in relationship. It happens when, you start a new job too. Everyone is always super gung-ho and ready to go. And then after a couple of months, you're like, okay, yeah, now we see who this person really is.
Yeah. That's that quote of like, the first 6 months of dating somebody, you're not dating them, you're dating their representative.
Exactly. That's yeah. And so it is really important to, when you're kind of coupling up, or if you have been with someone for a long time, to not lose track of what's actually really important to you, for the sake of, because a lot of the times we imagine this, keeping the relationship strong, because it's this super counterintuitive thing of like, oh, I have to give up so much stuff, so that my partner can be happy with the relationship. Um, Otherwise, like, it just won't work, when really, a healthy relationship has like some space in it, because you're still both individuals, you know like I said, there's always three relationships in a relationship. There's you with yourself, your partner with themselves, and then the two of you together. And if you like try and blend all of those into one kind of gooey mass, it's no fun. And like, that's when needs go unmet. That's when resentment starts to happen. That's when, you lose yourself in codependency. Because one of the things I think has been really useful for us is that we've always tried to, I mean, that's kind of the foundation we started this relationship on, when we first started dating, was that like, this is like, us being a couple is not going to affect who we are as individuals. That was like, we kind of did it the opposite way.
Yeah.
And then kind of found we couldn't get enough of each other.
We couldn't. Yeah. We couldn't stay away.
And so, if you find yourself in a relationship where you're like, man, I just have nothing but this relationship and it just bugs me, and I wish I had this and I wish I had that, then make time and space for those things you wish you had and you wish you had not.
Yeah. Like for me, just, I'm like a little bit embarrassed to say this, but just a month ago, maybe my parts like really understood that I had my own needs of community and friendship, and especially like sisterhood, that Joseph couldn't actually meet.
Yeah.
Like he can't actually meet those needs. Like I have needs outside of my one-on-one relationships. Like that was a huge epiphany for me for some of my parts. Given the narcissistic abuse that I had, given just my upbringing, like I was never oriented to those needs inside of myself. And so I was really like, oh yeah, shit. Like I need this. Like I need, in order for my life to feel like whole and complete, like I need this too. So I went on a road trip to hang out with my friends for a couple weeks. Yeah.
Just packed up, and I mean, it was kind of one of those things that it kind of snowballed into this like, oh, I think like all my friends are going to be in the same place. Like, should I pull the trigger? And it's just like, yeah, go. Like, fucking, we've been talking about this forever.
Yeah.
Let's go do it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's one thing between the two of us, is that we, as far as I can remember, when one of us has had like an opportunity or a desire to do that, we've been like, hell yeah, like go for it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've really learned in this chapter, is how important networking is, and also that networking doesn't also have to mean like we have some co-community that we, you know, share. Because I've made friends down here that, I feel like are pretty meaningful friends that you're not unfriendly with, but you're not like, nah, that's not my friend. It's just, your
Yeah.
person. And I think it's important too to also, make sure you don't like sacrifice your really quality friends for the relationship.
Yes.
There's, it definitely happens when people get relationship and their lives evolve and you kind of move away or move somewhere else and your friends don't. Friendships kind of come and go, but it's important to kind of keep up the ones that really matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also important to make new ones that are meaningful to you uh, without needing it to be like, oh yeah, my friends have to be your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's always helpful because then you can always do stuff together. But
Yep.
and especially for men too, like you need to have a community of other men to like go
Mm-hmm.
do stuff with. Like that's something I'm trying to build. I've got, you know, a couple of really good guy friends where it's just like, yeah, these are my friends I go hunting with. You know, I go for a romp in the woods or whatever. We go lift weights. And it's not that you're not wanted or invited or anything like that, but it's just like this is just our time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's good to like spend time away from the relationship every once in a while.
I agree.
Yeah, like distance does kind of create that sexual tension again where you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh man,
Yeah.
I miss my person when they're not around.
We have had the best sex since coming back.
Mhm.
Or since I came back.
Mhm.
Yeah. We had the best sex on my send off too.
I mean,
Like it's just a
that's
win-win.
called being in your masculine power right there, guys. When
Yeah.
your girl's going off to go on an adventure, send her off with a bang.
Give
And
her a good
then,
reason to come
yeah,
back.
give her a good reason to come back. And then when she comes back, show her what she missed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, mission accomplished.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what the question was.
uh
I'm on a tangent here.
yeah, what was the question? Shit.
How can we maintain healthy balance between personal
Oh,
space and
okay,
togetherness?
cool.
Okay,
I
yeah.
feel complete with that one.
Yeah, I mean, togetherness is something where you make it really intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, when you live together and like your relationship is really morphed into a lifestyle, like it can get,
Especially when you have kids.
yeah, especially when you
I
have
can
kids, like
imagine.
you get into routines, you have responsibilities, like it can really lose its spark
Yeah.
because, you know, you kind of have to play similar roles and things like that, and the, you know, the masculine and feminine roles can sometimes kind of get blurry and things like that, especially with kids. Holy shit, and kids are tough. But even just in just a regular relationship, like making sure that you create that polar sexual tension of like, yeah, I'm going to stay in my feminine, I'm going to stay in my masculine, so that like we reattract each other. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
really important. And like making sure you have your own individual thing really is what empowers that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So question answered.
Totally. Yeah, the like especially when you have kids or when you are just get in a routine, like your child rearing parts or your, routine parts, they are used to connecting, but like together time is like your coupley parts connecting. That's different. And like that's it. That's an important spark to keep alive and to prioritize.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of emphasis people put on like having date night. And some of that is kind of cliche of like, oh yeah, you know, go on a date, yada yada yada. But I think the real key of that is that like you set a regular schedule to go and be a couple and do couple things together and do couple things that are like out of your ordinary.
Hmm. Yeah, I hope we get to do that in Mexico.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do that all the time in Mexico.
Yeah.
Don't you worry. All right. Man, these questions are easy. Come on, AI. Give us some tougher questions. All right, question number 5, 6,
5, I think.
2, 3, 4, 5. How can we rekindle the spark and maintain intimacy? Sustaining passion and connection over time can be a struggle, and couples may seek ways to revive the excitement and emotional closeness with in their relationship. Words.
Words, man.
We were just talking about that. So this, I'm going to put this down to if you want to keep the spark in your relationship, you have to maintain like a clear division between masculine, feminine, polar energy. Like that solves so many problems because the main reason why spark goes away is because that polar sexual tension goes away, because your roles or your like expressions of your masculine or feminine energy kind of like neutralize, or they become like inverted. When like polar energy inversion is like the worst thing.
It's so
It's the worst
unsexy.
thing. Yeah. And you know, it's okay every once in a while, because there's times when, yeah, your partner needs to be in the opposite role or the opposite energy of what they are, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that every once in a while, because we both, every individual person has masculine and feminine energy. We typically have a core that like when we express it, expresses our highest self. But every once in a while, like we have parts of us that hold the opposite energy, you know. Like for me, I have parts that love to be taken care of and love to be super lazy and just like be a glutton, you know, just to receive and just lay about. And every once in a while, like,
The big kitty
yeah,
parts.
every once in a while, I just got to let that big kitty lay around and just let it have it.
And there are certain like elements of my masculinity that I love, that I actually genuinely get nourished by.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my planning parts.
Yeah, your planning
Like
parts.
I love them. I get nourished by that. So like that's something that we've kind of set up of like, okay, I'll plan all the shit. I'll like, set the container up and stuff, but then when it's time to actually do it, like you execute.
Yeah.
And so it's like it doesn't have to be such a like black and white thing, but it can be something that's fluid. But sexual tension like really happens when there is a distinction.
Yeah, when there's distinct efforts for you to embody and express whatever your core energy is, like that literally creates that magnetic force that what we call spark, and excitement is that magnetic polar sexual energy. And like you can think this is a bunch of hoo-ha, but try it out for yourself, you know. When like, what's some good examples you do of like really being in your feminine? Because that's one of the things I think we really work on for you, to like let your masculine parts take a chill.
Yeah. Well, I feel like anytime I'm feeling my feelings, I'm in my feminine.
Yeah.
When I'm blabbing about my experience, I feel like I'm in my feminine. When I am listening to my intuition, like when I'm talking about my intuition, even if I'm offering that intuition to you, like I still feel like it comes from a really feminine place. But anything in my body, like dancing, or if I do yoga,
Yoga.
yeah, that's more feminine.
Appreciated. Yeah, and
yeah, I'm curious, what does me doing yoga bring alive in you?
well, so yoga is one of those crazy ancient practices of a literal physical expression of like your energetic being. You know, like if you've ever done yoga, you know that there's like different poses that kind of have different energies to them, kind of masculine, feminine poses and things like that. There's poses called warrior, you know. What do you think that's all about? There's poses like lotus. What do you think that's all about? I'm just making a few examples here. And like just watching you kind of go through those energetic states in your flow, plus, you know, the visual stimulation of you looking great and being in this like these feminine flowy poses. Yeah. There are masculine parts of me that are just like,
yeah.
Good.
That I just wanted to ask because I've been feeling the call to really do yoga a lot more, and actually do the gym a lot less. Like do the gym just for maintenance, like if I have to. But I was like, oh man, but he loves when I go to the gym with him. Like he loves that that's a shared thing. But actually, I think this might be a really interesting opportunity to play with some polarity around that.
There is, because this is a great example where it's okay every once in a while for polarities to kind of inverse a little bit, because when we're in the gym, we're broing out.
Yeah.
We're pushing each other and like really celebrate being strong, taking action, moving some shit, pushing our limits, all that kind of stuff. And so that's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's definitely like aspects of it because um it brings out a lot of physicality in you too, or
Yeah. Yeah.
can't help
Being in
yourself.
our bodies together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it is definitely a more fun thing to do, not so much like a sexy thing to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Versus, when you're doing yoga, or even when we're doing yoga together, like you can feel that energy really going, and it's just like it's just sultry.
Yeah.
Sultry,
So cool.
smolder.
Not that I needed your permission to move forward with that, but that kind of gives me an intention of like, oh, okay, like this is a little spice I can add to it.
Well, you have my permission.
Cool.
So yeah, how can you kindle this if you found that the polar sexual energy in your relationship's gone real soft? A lot of it is um, some introspection. Some separation is a great way of doing it, because usually you separate for a reason that is meaningful to you. Like I kind of mentioned, when I go hunting with my buddy, it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go and just be in like pretty much a masculine space for the next 4 or 5 days. We're gonna go out and try and reconnect with our basic roots of why we're energetically the way we are.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to go and just be shitheads together for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That you know it's fun. But that like distance and that rekindling of just being immersed in like total masculine energy, um the camaraderie, the challenges, um the freedom of it, all the different things. For hunting, it's being lethal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much of it that just rekindles all those masculine elements, that when you kind of come back, you're just like charged up again, where it's just like, hey, what up? Like, I'm back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like, when you went on your little trip, you were in just feminine spaces and
Yeah.
just like so
I was so
introspective,
feminine.
soaking it up. So when you came back, like you were just in that flow.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
It was great.
And as a result, sex has been great.
Mm-hmm. Jeez.
So yeah, there's other things you could throw on top of that too, but start by figuring out where you can reinvigorate your masculine or your feminine energy, and see if that doesn't help.
Yep.
Yep.
And also, like, how to keep the spark alive is to stop, like, what do I want to say? No, to respect your own evolution, that you've become a different person than when you first met them.
Mm-hmm.
And they've become a different person than when they first met you. So, like, get to know each other again. Have
Mm-hmm.
beginner's mind with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing where date night can be really fun too, because maybe you go put yourself into some experience where the two of you have never done this before. So you're like,
Yeah.
well, how's this gonna work out? Like, who's this new person that's
Mm-hmm.
here, driving go-karts with me or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. And like the fear that you might feel, or the anxiety that you might feel about, like, oh yeah, trying something new with my partner, or trying, being vulnerable again with my partner, like, that's it. That's how you rekindle the spark.
Yep.
That vulnerability. That, like, I don't know if I can say this, or I don't know if I can ask this, or I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know what they're gonna think of me. And like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, fuck. Just to make that, I don't know, what's coming through is like, any and all criticism, like, get rid of it, because that's not gonna make it safe to rekindle anything.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, if if your parts are like, no, I can't be vulnerable because they're going to criticize me or they're going to use it against me, like address that first.
Yeah. Criticism's a real fucking bummer for relationships.
And it's not needed at all.
It's not.
We have zero criticism.
Yeah.
And have for this whole relationship. Like it really is not needed at all.
Yeah.
There are much different and better ways to communicate.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Question number 7. 6? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is question number 6. This is kind of the same question. What if we have different interests or hobbies? Pass. We already answered that question.
Yeah.
How can we navigate financial matters as a couple? Oh man, this is a great one.
Yeah.
Money-related conflicts, budgeting, and decision making can be a significant source of stress and disagreement within relationships. Yes. Yeah.
Sure can.
The almighty dollar. I think first things first is figure out how you two communicate about money. This is kind of something that I think a lot of people take for granted when they get into a relationship, and once the relationship kind of gets serious, and then it's like it's kind of this anchor of like, oh, you were really bad with money, or oh, you're really strict with money, or oh, there's a big like disparity between money, so like what does that mean now? So I think this is another one of those kind of sticky topics that just takes constant maintenance. If you're just dating with someone, or you're just getting into a relationship, it's something that's worthwhile kind of bridging and bringing up. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, hey, we've been getting serious, let's talk about money now. But it's something you should be open about and honest about, because if you're going to be in a relationship, you're going to find out eventually like what each other's financial situation is. If it's you guys are down the road and you're got shared money expenses and all this kind of stuff, then I think it's one of those things that should really connect you to of, okay, this is something we should manage together, we should plan together, we should decide who owns what roles with like our financial security and abundance, and make sure that that's really clear, and touch base on it to make sure that it stays clear. One of the things that we do that I think is really positive is that we had a discussion of like, okay, who's better at like doing the bookkeeping? And in the end, it was kind of like, well, I think we both have the capability of doing it, but like you prefer to do it, and like, or at least like, I don't know, you can answer that, but like we kind of agreed that that was going to be a responsibility you upheld. And it was great. Where it's just like, oh, awesome, like I don't want to have to do that. And it was really freeing for me too to be like, okay, yeah, like I trust you, here's all my information. Like it creates a sense of freedom for me, because it's just like, you're going to see everything I'm going to spend money on, so there's no secrets, and then you help me kind of keep accountable with things and keep track of what I spend money on. I mean, I don't have an issue spending money on things, but it is just another kind of way to be responsible with money, to kind of have a third party type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of things. For a long time, it was really important for me to keep our money separate. Like, yeah, we can collaborate about it, but like it needed to be different accounts, like all that kind of stuff. And it still is. And like, there is an element of freedom that I like with that, to know like, okay, if I really wanted to spend money on something, like I could take that out of my account and do it, but we like, especially as we're starting our own businesses and stuff, or you're starting your own business and I'm, just navigating the cycles of mine, like it is like our money is shared money
Mhm.
now. And so it's actually been really, really fun and connecting with you about like how we want to utilize those shared resources. And I mean, because that's really what it is just a conversation of like the shared resource that we have. Like how do we, what are our priorities? How do we want to utilize it? And then being explicit about what that means, about like the dinners that you can and cannot afford, you know, the things. Yeah. But it seems like, for both of us, we don't really like have a power dynamic with money. It's not like one of us puts our foot down and is like, no, you can't do this with your own money.
Right.
But like, we kind of defer to the other, like we give our opinion and then like give each other the freedom to make the decision that they want to make. And I feel like that's been a real benefit of like having separate accounts. Yeah, so those are just my thoughts on finances and money. That hasn't really been like a pinch point as much for us.
Yeah, because I think one of the areas that people really shoot themselves in the foot, especially with money, is when there's not honesty about where money's coming from, where money's going, you know, kind of hiding expenses, because that just raises questions that need answering. And like, honesty is, you know, if you really want to do a relationship, like honesty is kind of the only policy.
Agreed.
You know, it's like cool every once in a while if you're going to do like a surprise for a birthday or whatever, to kind of be like, oh, you know, don't look at the credit card. It's kind of fun to be like, oh, don't look at the credit card for a couple of weeks because your birthday's coming up, and you know, so there might be something on there you shouldn't see. Kind of sets the tension and teases it a little bit. But you know, honesty, especially with money, because yeah, money's a tricky thing. Like we're all trying to get it and
keep it.
I don't think we're all really trying to keep it.
Well, keep enough of it.
Yeah, keep enough of it. And when there's not honesty and openness around that, it just opens up the can of worms to, okay, well, where else is there not some honesty and openness?
Agreed.
And you know, money allows you freedom in so many ways. It allows you freedom of action, time, responsibility, all these kind of things. And when you don't manage it very well, like, and you're in relationship with someone, like you basically get them caught up in the same mess, and like that's not fair.
And like money can spiral when there's shame involved, and the best way to like get rid of that is honesty. The best way to keep conversations around money clean is honesty. Honesty about how much there is, how much is coming in, what you want to do with it, what you'd love your partner to do with it, like the explicit like things that you don't want to do with it and that you don't want them to do with it. Like being really explicit and honest, it seems like the two pillars, financial pillars, to make that conversation go a little smoother. As soon as you start hiding shit, like that's just in general in your relationship, you know? Don't
hide shit. Unless it's a surprise you're going to reveal. That's going to be something for fun.
Yeah.
Don't hide shit. One thing I think is really cool that's evolving with us and money is it's kind of a rallying point.
Yeah.
For us to be like, all right, let's fucking go team. Like this is our goals for the month. This is like how much we need to be able to do this thing. And so this is what we're doing to meet that. And so it's a really fun tool to inspire each other. Yeah.
100%.
And if you'd like to help us in that way too, join our Patreon. Seriously. That Patreon is a real critical part of supporting this channel, supporting the information that we're putting out here, because we want to do this to help you. And you know, we can't help you if we're dead broke.
That's right. We'd have to get JOBs.
Yeah.
Nah, like that's not gonna happen. But if you do get value from this channel, like please consider supporting us on Patreon and get us a coffee and a half.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how much those coffee and a halves go a long way. So,
Mm-hmm.
and plus you get so much extra cool stuff. What do the people get, Jordan?
Well, you will get to well, it depends on which tier you join. But the first tier, you will get to have exclusive access to listener requests. So you'll be able to like actually ask us your questions, whether it's a specific example in your relationship or just a general question about relationships. And we will answer them on the call. If you join higher tiers, you will just get higher priority and your questions will be answered first.
And the more and more people, the more and more of these perks we're gonna have to add. I mean,
that's right.
We've got merch ideas. We've got
merch created. We're just ready.
We've got some like more in-depth tips. Honestly, like the hardest muscle is gonna blow up here.
Yeah.
And if you become an early Patreon, like you're just gonna be rolling in so much good stuff. So go ahead and make that happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's about it. Like,
yeah, I feel pretty complete.
I do too.
Thanks, ChatGPT.
Yeah, come on, ChatGPT. Give us some harder questions.
Yeah, maybe we should ask him. You can tell it to rerun it, and can you say like, but harder?
Yeah.
More difficult. I said difficult.
So yeah, everybody. Hopefully that was kind of some fun things. Maybe you had these questions going on in your mind, and this helped you get some clarity on it. But if you really want to get clarity on what's going on in your life, Parts Work Academy.
Parts Work Academy.
So, all right, everybody. Well, thanks, Jordan. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you. I actually like learned a lot from you.
That's what we do every day. Learn from each other.
Aww.
All right, everybody. Well, have a great week out there, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for enjoying this episode of the Heart is a Muscle podcast. We really enjoy creating this content for you, and we want to share some more resources so you can get even more content. So take it away, Jordan.
That's right. If you want to follow either one of us on socials, if you want to work with either one of us, if you want access to our YouTube channel, if you want to buy our book, links to all that stuff is on our Patreon. So that is patreon.com/theheartisamuscle. Now you don't have to join Patreon to get access to those links.
But you probably should. The more that you support us and support this channel, the more that we can create this awesome content to help support you, because that's really why we do this. We want to make your guys' lives better, and your support really matters.
Yeah. And what you'll get when you join Patreon is a shout out in our next episode. And you will also get access to listener requests where you will get to request what you want us to talk about in future episodes.
So from the Heart is a Muscle podcast to you guys, thank you so much for all the support, all the feedback. We really, really enjoy it. And we'll talk to you all later.
Truly love you guys so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.